Did you guys hear that? It took her 6 months and falling out of escrow.
Right.
A lot of people start marketing, and when they don't get a deal in the first 30, 60, 90 days, they're like, this doesn't work.
Yeah, doesn't work. But let me also nail this home. It was 6 months before she got a contract, a deal closed. But you heard it. She was taking massive action, right? Consistent, massive action.
Yeah, you went all in.
Oh, I went all in.
Welcome to the Deals and Aloha podcast, where we talk about real estate deals, hope to leave a lasting impact on our audience, and of course, spread aloha.
Gee.
Please follow us on all social media platforms at Kamohai and Tristan. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's get it.
So today we have Stacey Johnson from Kaoi Property Buyers. You primarily fix and flip and wholesale here in Hawaii, and you've done some deals in California, and I'm excited to hear your story.
Thanks for having me.
Let's jump in.
Yeah, well, before we start, I am super excited today because I feel like we've known each other for a long time, right?
Yeah.
But I genuinely don't know your entire story. So like my favorite thing is having people on this podcast that just like this, right? Because it's so cool. You get to hear everything. So I'm excited.
I remember the first time I met you on the beach. Kailua Beach. And I was like, you're real estate.
I was wearing
right?
no clothes, guys.
Same. I was in a bikini too with my kids. I remember that. I was like, real Stacey.
That's so funny.
That is funny. Power of social media.
Yeah. And
Super cool.
Hawaii's so small. It's crazy.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Okay. So how did you get into real estate?
It's a great question. So my background is in engineering. I born and raised in Hawaii, went to Pearl City High School, and after high school, I decided I was going to go into engineering at UC Irvine in California, in SoCal. And really the only reason why I did that was because I was good at math, good at science, and my parents were Asian, and I want to make them proud. So I was like, all right, I kind of want to be an attorney. And if I go into engineering, I will be able to go to law school and be like this unique character.
Right.
And I know how to problem solve. And so did the whole engineering thing, and I easily realized that like that was not something I could do for the rest of my life. I found that out because I was doing a research project where I was analyzing California's capacity to meet 100% renewable energy. Computer, like straight coding on this computer.
Yeah.
And I remember staring at it and I was like, there's no way I can do this. Like, this is horrific.
Yeah.
And so in college, you have to do a senior design project. And I was trying out all these different senior design projects. And I was like, there's nothing that I like. Why don't I go start my own? And so I started the UC Irvine Solar Race Car team.
No way.
That's cool.
That's super cool.
So I hired 50 undergraduate engineers to help me design and build this like one passenger vehicle to go across America completely powered by the sun. And we didn't finish it. I just started the team and we like built a chassis, learned how to weld and whatnot. And that made me realize I love like engineering and I want to be in charge of it. I don't want to be the one staring at the screen.
Working in it.
Exactly. And so I was like, man, if I go into engineering and I want to be an engineering manager, how long would that take and how much would I get paid? Probably take like 20 years and I'd max make $200,000. It's like, there's no way. There's no way I could do that. I would just be like miserable. And so thankfully, my mechanical lead for that solar race car team was interning for a general contractor on campus that was building a $133 million dorm tower.
Wow.
And he asked me if I wanted to intern.
And you're like, yes, please.
Yes, let's go. Like, I don't have that much time since I'm like obviously doing this and all these other classes, whatever. But if they can accommodate that, I want to at least get my feet wet. So I went to that and easily realized, okay, this is it. Project management of big construction projects. Like, this is a good way in for me to figure out like what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so straight out of college, I went to go work with them. Funny thing is because I got an offer to work on the Heart and come back home.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, on the
That's
Heart.
crazy.
If you guys don't know what the Heart is, it's this crazy rail project here in Oahu that is literally taking all of my life.
Yeah.
Forever.
Probably some of my
Literally.
kids' lives too. Yeah. Yeah.
So
It doesn't even go everywhere either.
yeah, exactly. It was supposed to, but it
Yeah.
didn't. And so I'm really glad I didn't take that. I felt like at the time I was just getting into my faith in California. And I felt like my community out there was what I needed to like continue to grow. And if I came back home and came back to my friends that I was
Yeah.
friends with, it would just not be good. And
Derail you.
Exactly.
Yep.
And so I decided to stay out there and did the whole construction management thing. And I remember walking the first day on that job. It's like this ground up development. I look at this building and I'm like, I'm going to own this thing one day. Like screw working on the ground and being in the field, but I'm going to build one of these myself one day.
One day. Yeah.
And so that sparked something in my brain to start learning about real estate. And so I read the little book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it was game over for me. I saw all my bosses were divorced, bald, miserable. And I was like, if I stay here, I am going to end up like that.
Yeah.
I would much rather be poor and broke and with my family and married than look like that and have a Ferrari and driving around. Like, no thanks.
Well,
Yeah.
that's proves you that's a living testament that money can't buy happiness.
No, absolutely not. So working 80 hours a week, reading this book, and I was trying to figure out, okay, how can I get into real estate with my own money? I think I had like $30,000 saved up. I had opened up a savings account in 3rd grade, and literally like every birthday money, I worked as soon as I could work and I just threw it all in there.
That's so smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I saved up all that money and I was like, all right, the only way I can really buy something is if I buy a mobile home because I was in Southern California, similar to Hawaii, very expensive.
Yeah.
And so, I was just like on the hunt. I went to a real estate women's network and met with other people in the industry. And I remember showing up and I was the youngest one in there. And after the meetup, I go up to the owner of it and I'm like, hey, what's up? I'm Stacy. I'm trying to get into real estate. And I really was looking for like a mentor to kind of walk me through what this adventure I was going through. And so she told me that she had to move that weekend and was going to rent a truck. And I was like, shoot, dude, I have a truck.
Yeah, I can help with that.
I want to
let me
help
know.
you. Yeah.
Don't go rent it. Like, I'll be your labor and your truck.
Nice.
So I went
Super smart.
exactly. I just wanted to be around her.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went to go help her that weekend, and she ended up being like my mentor through that first one. Ended up buying that first house. I mean, long story short, I lost $30K on that. Held it way too long. Did the wrong renovations and had a way big ego because I was in construction management. And I was like,
You're like, I
dude,
know
this is
when
easy.
Yeah.
I can do
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
I can even do the work myself if I wanted to. And I did. I had actually was telling somebody, one of the leaders on the field, he was a carpenter, about what I was doing. And he was so intrigued. He had a kid like my age. And he's like, oh, let's go see the property and let me help you out. And he ended up helping me with a lot of the work, helped me patch drywall and like taught me how to change a P-trap. Dude, I changed a P-trap, okay? That was the worst thing I've ever done.
I've never changed a P-trap. I'm just saying that now.
I'll admit that I haven't either, and I probably never will.
Yeah. So the P-trap is, if for those of you guys don't know, is literally holds all the SHIT at the bottom.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
of
happening.
the sink.
So you got in there.
I got in there. I was like, I know commercial. I need to understand residential. So I got in there, did all the work. I ended up selling it at a 30K loss and learned a lot. But I think when I went into that adventure, I said, I remember my parents told me that like, I'll pay for your college education, but if you want to get a master's or like any other advanced education, that's up to you. And I said, okay, since I have a possibility that I might lose all this money, let's just call that my education. All I ran numbers on was, am I going to survive with the income that I have if I hold this property too long? That's it. I didn't even run like, I kind of ran ARV and whatnot, but I didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
So
Yeah.
after that deal, I sat down, I said, is this something I really want to do? And I obviously did. And so I was doing mobile homes. So I found like a Google search, the best like mobile home investor coach.
Okay.
And I ended up joining his most expensive program, and he ended up walking me through that whole process of the second flip where I finally made some money. It was a proven process. But as I was selling that second flip, my mom had got sick. She got cancer. She's better now, cancer free.
Okay.
Praise God.
But it forced me to have to move back home.
Yeah.
Back to Hawaii.
Right.
Yeah.
While
Got
I
it.
was selling that second flip.
Oh.
And so I was still working for the company. They have a branch out here, so they transferred me, thankfully,
Yeah.
to Waianae. And I was working on this project, and I remember like being so miserable. Still, I moved back home to be with my family. Like, why am I still working 80 hours a week? And it got so bad, guys, that I like broke down at work. I don't even know why.
Yeah.
I was just like crying. And I remember going downstairs to my car, looking at my reflection in the mirror and telling myself, like, man up, dude. Like, what are you doing crying?
Right.
You are at work.
Right.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
And so I like could not pick myself up together. And so I went to my boss and I was like, dude, I need to take the day off. Like, I can't be here right now. And
Right.
she said, you have not taken a vacation in over a year. Go take 2 weeks off.
Wow.
You just came home. Your mom is sick. Like, you got a lot on your plate. We came here to help you start this project. So it's not like you have a little bit of work. Like, you're doing a lot. So
Right.
go take 2 weeks off. And so I did. And the first week I just spent most of the time just like hanging out, chilling, praying, going to the beach and whatnot. And I remember on that Friday, I made this prayer and I said, God, if you are supposed to, if I'm not supposed to be here, like if I'm not supposed to be in this job, can you show me a sign in this next week when I'm off? I'm gonna start calling all these leads in California that I had built up, and if something happens, show me a sign. I'm gonna quit. I start calling these leads in California, and I ended up wholesaling a deal for $1,500. It was really
Nice.
nothing,
Yeah.
But it was
a
It
sign.
was
something.
the
It was a
very
sign.
thing,
That
that
you
you
needed.
needed at that
Exactly.
time.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So let's unpack a little bit.
Yeah,
because
There's
that
a
was
lot to
There
unpack.
was so much. So I think it's super cool that when you're at work, you're literally like an engineer through and through. Like I'm talking to you, I feel like you engineered the fact that you didn't want to be an engineer. Like you sat down and like looked at what your life was going to be like, and you're like, dude, I know for a fact that I don't want to do that. Like I don't even know if I could have done that. So that's like really, really cool for me to see. And then the other thing that I heard in there is like, success leaves clues, but the opposite is also true, right? Like you can get clues from things that you don't want to be, like you don't want to be at all.
Yeah.
And I feel like not enough people do that. Like people nowadays get stuck in certain careers or whatever it is they're kind of told to do by society, and they don't necessarily know that there is another option out there. And like you found real estate and you did that through like mentorship and stuff. What drew you to mentorship? Like how did
lost
that
30K.
That's what it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
I could have just put that money into a coaching program instead of just
Yo, hindsight is
Doing it.
2020. You know what I mean? Like, you know what though? Like mentorship, it still could have happened. Obviously, it would have made the risk less.
Yeah.
But it still could have happened because we did a mentorship and we still made like 5K.
That's a win.
That
That
is
is
a
a
win.
win.
That is a win. But like,
So you're saying I won,
0.01% on $1 million house.
right?
it's a great return.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know what I mean? Like, would you have taken back the loss from that first flip?
No, absolutely not.
Why?
Because I learned so much about what not to do. And when I was transitioning out of mobile homes into $1 million houses in Hawaii, it was important for me to make those mistakes on a $10,000 home instead of $1 million house.
Love that.
That's
so-
so critical.
Yeah, I mean, I see some of my friends today like taking these huge risks, and I'll tell them like, hey, probably shouldn't do that, but
Yeah.
they won't listen because they need to make the mistake themselves,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
So I'm just glad that I made that one with my own money, because now I buy properties with none of my own money. So it's now a proven concept with my own money.
Right.
And then two, on bigger deals, obviously. So.
Yeah.
It's so true. I mean, he and I can relate totally, because on our first deal, everything that went wrong could have gone wrong. And we went to, that was like our master's degree in flipping.
Right.
You know what I mean? But we wouldn't change it for the world because we learned what not to do.
Yeah.
And how to not make the same mistakes so you actually can make money. You know what I mean?
See, and I feel like that's an important point that you made, though, that you learned it on that size of a deal, right?
Yeah.
Because even our first deal was a $600,000 house, right? And so,
which is still a lot of money, but in Hawaii, right?
It's
You're
small.
like, it's
in
small in
Hawaii,
Hawaii.
it's smaller, and we see the same thing all the time. Like second deal, they're buying a $2 million house.
It's scary.
That needs like a
So scary.
$500,000 rehab, and I'm like, I don't know if that's like the
we're
best
still
decision.
hesitant on doing deals of that caliber,
Especially now.
with the
Yeah,
market
exactly, with
and
the
just
market.
with. It's not always about, I think, the return, right? It's also, we look at, okay, but I can raise that much money in one deal, or I can raise that much money and do 5 deals.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then these 5 deals, if I take a loss on one, I still have 4 others to make up my
Mitigate
return.
risk.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Our
Yeah.
job as investors is to mitigate risk.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Because
so,
it's so risky.
Right.
Yes.
And in
Yes.
Hawaii, it is
Yeah.
even more than anywhere. I mean, there's other markets where it is similar price points, but
Yeah.
we're not talking about
10 grand.
$20,000.
we're talking about 100 grand.
Hundreds of grand that you could
Hundreds.
potentially, hundreds of grands that you could
Yeah,
potentially lose,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And the thing is like, we're responsible for a lot of other people's money,
Oh, yeah.
right? And most of the time, these investors aren't using their own money, so it's a heavy burden to carry, and there's a lot of risk there. But I do want to ask you, you lost 30 grand on your first flip. Why the F didn't you give up? Like, what was it that kept you going?
Those bald people.
Was it? You're like, I know I don't want to be
Those
that
bald
person.
men with Ferraris.
Bald men with Ferraris.
Yeah.
And bosses, if you ever see this, you know I'm talking about you.
She got no shame in her game
No
anymore.
shame.
Oh,
dude.
that's awesome.
But it's true, right? You know exactly what you want and don't want. And if that bugs you enough,
It
it'll
bugged
keep
me
you
a
pushing you
lot.
that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that answer.
I know.
Because, like, okay, so I remember straight out of college, I was calculating, like, how much I would make per hour. And most people gave me a salary, but there was one that I actually got an hourly salary, and it was $25 an hour. And I ended up not taking it because I was like, dude, this is so little. I just got this engineering degree. How are you going to throw this in my face? Like, the disgrace.
Right,
Throw that back
right. Yeah.
I did not just go into $200,000 worth of debt for you to give me that. So
Right.
anyway, I remember calculating out that salary that they gave me when I was working for those bald mean people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I was making like $10 an hour.
What?
With how much I was working.
How much
Yeah,
you're working.
because you're
at.
putting in a lot of hours. Yeah.
So there was just no way. I knew I wanted to raise a family one day, and there was no way I was going to be able to do that in a job like that.
Yeah. See, and I think that's cool too, because you're young.
Yeah.
You're young, and you had the foresight to understand that if you stayed in this path, then before you know it, you're going to blink your eyes, you're going to be miserable, and you're probably not going to be able to do a lot of things that you wanted to do. And I think there's something to be said about having that foresight at such a young age.
Yeah.
And finding that vehicle.
Where did that come from? Your ability to, it sounds like you're pretty attuned with who you are as a person. You've gone through some self-development. Like, how did you, because I feel like a lot of younger individuals are still trying to figure it out at 25, 26, 27. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or whatever. And it seems like you're trying to figure it out, but you knew exactly what you didn't want and you knew what you did want.
Yeah.
A lot of people at that age don't know. So where did that come from?
I think number one, my dad. He's a hustler.
Yeah.
And I mean, the guy only graduated high school and built himself up from working as an apprentice and moved all the way up in this company with all the relationships that he built to just like pretty much run it. So that was one thing, was like, okay, if they can do that, how can I stand on that platform and go even further? And then I don't know. I think just like sports in general, I've always been a leader and wanted like more for myself and expected more out of others, which can be a blessing and a curse.
Yeah, totally.
So I've just never been satisfied with my performance, and always wanted to like continue leveling up.
Level up.
Dude, I can relate to you on so many levels, like on everything you just said, because that's exactly how I was raised and that's exactly how I feel. And I think that you can relate. I think our parents, both of our parents come from like very hardworking. Both my parents were entrepreneurs and they set the precedent, right? When we were growing up, we saw them work, we saw them hustle, we saw how intellectual they were and the time that they put in to get where they were. And it was like, okay, we know that we have to do that. But like you said, stand on that platform and take it even further.
Yeah.
So how does that translate into life now?
How does that translate into life now? I mean, just like always trying to level up, and I find myself trying to scale way quicker than I am ready for. And that's been a struggle because I've spent so much money just trying to scale and like not necessarily having the right people in place.
Yeah.
I feel like having the right people in place is something that we can relate to, and building the proper team. It's not about just building your team, but it's having the right butts in the right seats on your team can make or break the ability to scale.
Yeah. Because I can build all the systems all day. I've built every single system of mine. I don't even hire a developer. Like I will do it myself.
Because you're an engineer.
Yeah. But like trying to manage all of that has been a struggle for sure.
I don't think that you're alone. I can relate 100%. And oftentimes I have to get pulled back down to reality because first, nothing is ever enough. And like we'll reach a goal and then like make a certain amount of money. And I still feel like I don't have enough money. And we still need to do way more. And a lot of times I'm like, okay, we just need to throw more money at it. Throw more money at it. We'll get more leads and we'll do that many more deals. And that's unfortunately not how it works, right? Like you can throw all the money at something in the world, but if you don't have the team and the systems and everything else in place to handle that inbound lead flow, then it doesn't go anywhere. So I 1000% relate to that.
It's the entrepreneurial struggle of constantly wanting to level up.
Yeah.
But once you hit that level, I feel like you have to prepare yourself in every arena of life to get to the next level. But we just want to expedite that as quickly as possible, right?
What do you mean by that? I would love to hear you go a little bit deeper.
Like mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and then leadership, your teams, your systems, your business, making sure that every component, because we have to compartmentalize a lot as entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
In order, we wear way too many hats.
Right.
And in order for you to be efficient in one hat, you have to compartmentalize, shut that other part down, only focus on this, and then switch boxes. So I feel like when you hit this level of, whatever the goal was, I don't know. I did
$100,000.
Whatever.
Yeah,
3 flips, made this, and it's like, well, now I want to do
$1 million.
20 flips and I want to, net $1 million. But what got you to this level isn't going to get you to that level.
Right.
So the amount of work that has to happen here, we as entrepreneurs want it to happen quick.
Right.
Yeah, like yesterday.
Yeah. Not even tomorrow.
Exactly.
Yesterday.
But we're in this transition of growing, right? But it's like, good, come on, like hurry up. But then it's like God doesn't allow you to get there because you haven't gone through all the boxes,
right.
Yeah. So I
feel that.
Yeah. Love that. Okay, so you do their second flip, you make some money. The sign comes and you end up quitting your job,
you
or what
wholesaled
happens?
the deal. That was technically your third deal, right?
That Monday.
You quit your job that following Monday. So you were like, I know this is the sign. Time to quit. This is what I'm doing.
Well, I actually said, you know what? She let me take 2 weeks off. I'm going to quit on Friday. But I wake up on Monday and I felt so heavy. I was like, there's no way I can wait until Friday. So I just did it on Monday.
Wow. Cool.
But I remember I didn't want to make the same mistake again. I needed coaching. I wasn't going to jump into this big adventure. And so I called Future Flipper that day and was like, I'm signing up for your most expensive program. Sign me up. You don't have to sell me.
How did you find out about Future Flipper?
I was following Ryan. I personally was trying to get away from the working every single minute of the day kind of mindset, and like being able to be with my family on the weekends and being able to practice my faith and openly talk about it. And so he was like that, and I wanted to gravitate towards that kind of leadership.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so you joined Future Flipper.
Yep.
What happened next?
So I joined Future Flipper. I implement their systems, and for like 6 months, I moved back home into my childhood room, and I set up this little desk that I got for free off of Facebook Marketplace in the corner of my childhood room, and I'm like blasting the phones. I tried to do cold calling for like 2 days. I'm like, this is horrific.
This sucks.
This sucks. Yeah.
This sucks.
There's no way I'm doing this.
I would want to put a bet out there for anybody who has had a different experience cold calling for their first
Let me know in the comments below.
Yeah, please do, because I have not met anyone.
If you haven't had that experience, we would like to hire you.
Yeah.
Yes,
Exactly. So I end up hiring like 4 cold callers because I'm like, probably some of them are going to weed out. I want to come down to just 2 when I'm getting started. And so I'm training them, their leads coming in, I'm following up. And long story short, I end up falling out of escrow 3 times before I actually lock up my first one in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And again, starting on a smaller scale, thankfully that first house I bought for $179,000.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
super
good.
cool.
Little small condo, little test out the
Yeah.
waters. And
So wait, let me ask you, how long was that process from when you started?
6 months.
6 months, and you fell out of escrow on 3.
3.
Crazy.
3 separate
Okay.
ones.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear that? It took her 6 months and falling out of escrow.
Right.
A lot of people start marketing, and when they don't get a deal in the first 30, 60, 90 days, they're like, this
Give up.
doesn't work.
Yeah, doesn't work. But let me also nail this home. It was 6 months before she got a contract, a deal closed, but you heard it. She was taking massive action, right? Consistent, massive action. It wasn't, oh, I'm going to call a couple times this day. Oh, maybe 2 days later I'll call again. Or, you know what I mean? I feel like a lot of people fool themselves into thinking that they're doing a lot of work.
Yeah.
When in actuality, you're not being super consistent, and you're not taking a ton of action.
Yeah, you went all in.
Oh, I went all in. And like, imagine my parents, they had spent so much money on this degree, and I would move back in with them, and like my dad would tell me every day, when are you going to get a real job? When are you going to get a real job?
No.
Like,
So
what
you
are
didn't
doing?
necessarily
Running
have
away in
that
your room? Like, what are you doing?
family support either.
No, definitely
They didn't
not.
understand what you were doing.
They did. Oh, they didn't understand what I was doing, and they supported me, but like still a lot of snarky comments that I just had to ignore.
Yeah.
So
What helped you overcome that? Because I feel like a lot of people experience the same thing. A lot of people want to go on this entrepreneurial journey and know exactly what they're trying to do, but their family doesn't understand. Their closest friends don't understand. So therefore, when they're ignorant about something, usually they think it's wrong.
right.
So how did you continue to push forward with that resistance?
I knew what I was doing. I knew why I was doing that. And I knew I was doing it even just for them as well. Like, I wanted to be able to retire them, and they can say all they want about what I'm doing. I'm not going to be able to retire them with an engineering degree.
Right.
So, I mean, even just now, fast forwarding, we just bought our first rental together.
Nice.
It's like
Congratulations.
starting to play out where they're now my biggest fans. I knew that it wasn't going to be a long-term thing. I just needed to show them it was a proven process.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you had a very solidified, strong why.
Yeah.
How did you find that why? Because I feel like
Bald guys.
The ball guys.
Back to
I
the
know.
bald guys.
That's what
Always goes
I
back
was
to
gonna
the
say. The
bald
ball.
guys.
I was
There you
gonna
go.
say the ball guys before she said
There
the
you
bald
go.
guys. Yeah. But I think it's very important to just note that you have to have something that is something similar to that, right?
Yeah.
Like, you need that. Sometimes is overlooked, and it's probably the most important thing. We talk about whys all the time. You like explain it very eloquently, but it can't just be, I want to make a lot of money,
Yeah.
or I want time freedom,
Right.
or Like you need to be very detailed and specific because guys, this shit is hard.
So hard.
It is hard.
Yeah.
It is not like you see on Instagram where you start doing some marketing and you get $100,000 flip.
Or
It's
wholesale
just
fee with
not like that.
the guy showing the checks.
Right. Like there's gonna be times where you want to give up, and there's gonna be a lot of those times. So you have to get that why super solid.
I mean, there has been countless times that he and I wanted to give up, where I literally, even this year, where I'm like, I'm not having fun anymore.
Yeah.
This shit is hard. It's heavy. The burden that we carry as entrepreneurs and specifically investors is not light. And so if your why isn't so rooted in purpose, you know what I mean? You will give up, and this industry will chew you up and spit you out.
Yeah. And I think like on a bigger scale, I've always been extremely passionate about homelessness, especially with locals and Hawaiians. And so like on a bigger scale, I wanted to do all these like transition houses for homelessness, and I knew I needed money for that. So.
yeah.
I
That's
love
cool.
that. Are
Love
you
that too.
currently trying to build that out? Are you working on that now, or is that a long-term play?
I think it's going to happen quicker than I expect. Right now, I'm like planting a lot of seeds throughout my church because I'm finding a lot of people there that want to partner with us. And I also want to partner with Inspire, the church I go to build that as well. So,
Yeah.
I love
Mike,
that.
Mike Kai, right?
yep, Mike Kai.
Ask Mike Kai if he knows who Kamohai Kalama is. He was so funny story. He was my very first youth pastor. So he was a youth pastor at the Well and at Ben Parker for Hope Chapel.
Okay.
Way
Yeah,
back
he's
in the
from out
day
here.
when he got started.
Yeah.
And one of his daughters, Courtney, actually was like best friends with my best friend. So I know Mike like really
Nice.
well. But he's awesome.
It's a
Super
small
awesome
world,
guy.
small
world out
island.
here.
Yeah.
You know, I love that. And I think that is rooted in our why as well, is just providing impact to the people around us. You know, my background is in behavioral health, and the one of the biggest vulnerable populations that we serve at the nonprofit that I still own is homelessness. You know what I mean? So I see it firsthand, and I would love to partner with you on that, you know, in the church when it happens, because I can fill your beds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Easily.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know the need. I see it firsthand. I've gone into the prisons. I've gone into the streets. Like, I get it. And so we're aligned in that aspect too.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
But I
Super
knew
cool.
that a behavioral health licensed mental health counselor salary wasn't going to
Yeah.
make the impact that it needed to make.
Yeah, 100%.
So I went into real estate.
There we go.
You know what I mean?
There it is.
Yeah.
So, okay. So what strategies are you currently focused on?
So I was doing the whole cold calling thing for like the last year and a half, try to scale that, epically failed at it, but learned a lot.
Epically learned at it. That's what I would
Epically
say.
I
yeah.
love
You
that. Let's
epically learned at
constantly
it.
change that.
Epically
Yeah.
learned a lot. And put out a lot of money to epically learn that.
Yeah.
And so now my last deal came from an accountability call that I was hosting for rookies in Hawaii.
Right. Because
so-
you became a coach, right? Like helping.
Not really.
Okay.
Yes and no. Like, it wasn't something that they had asked me to do. I just saw that need and I filled it.
That's
you took
awesome.
initiative. Yeah.
And so I was meeting with these guys every 2 weeks, and somebody in there knew an attorney that ended up giving me this deal. And so coming back from the Future Flipper Mastermind, I listed out every single deal that I did and how I got it, and realized, like, what am I doing? Like, why am I even trying to turn the wheels on this thing that's not even turning? I made 1.2x on my money, which is literally a loss pretty much because of all the time.
Right.
And so now I'm like doubling down on YouTube, social media, events. So I'm hosting my first event
Nice.
in
Yes.
November.
Talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit.
So I'm partnering with Future Flipper to start it's either going to be monthly, because we talked about how monthly is like really hard.
It's hard. Yeah,
It's
tough.
hard,
So
but
I might do
it's
60 days.
but it's critical. It's
Right.
so good to if you can do it monthly, you should try.
All right, I think I'm going to do it.
Do it. So
It's
what is
worth
it?
it.
What is it? The event.
It's really just a networking thing.
Nice.
I just want to get people. I mean, I love your idea. I don't want to steal it, so I'm gonna let you guys run that. Like, featuring other people, I think that's
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think what we'll do is we'll feature a Future Flipper student at the event to talk about like what they're doing and how we can help them and whatnot. So most of it is just networking. I've held networking events in the past and I've found private money lenders from it.
Everything.
It's a no-brainer.
That's
so
critical.
cool.
So when is the event?
November 14th.
November 14th. Where is it?
Register to find out.
There you go.
Where can people register?
At the link in my bio.
Okay. And
Not there yet, but
it's not there yet, but it will be there. Yeah.
And where is the bio? Like, where do people find you?
Oh, I am Stacy. I do real estate, so I am Real Stacy.
Real Stacy. At Real Stacy.
On Instagram.
On Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, the whole 9 yards.
All
gotta
the
be
things.
Omnipresent.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Love
Okay.
that.
I love that. We will be there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yes, we
I'm
will.
actually excited for it. So we'll
It's
check
at
it out.
Ranchero and Kamakana. You can edit that out, but like
Edit
Okay.
that out,
Just edit that
Nico,
out,
because
Nico.
that's
Yeah.
she's making people register to find out.
Yeah.
Hook, line, and sinker.
Get it.
Okay, so you laid out all of your deals you had done, and you realized none of them came from cold calling.
they did. I made
okay.
money from it.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
just the efforts of doing that and how much money I made on that versus the referrals and social media and agents was a clear no-brainer to like scrap that.
Scrap that.
Was
but
it really clear? Probably not, because I had to ask Ryan. But
Yeah.
once he confirmed it, it was good to go.
Yeah.
That's why we have mentors,
Yeah.
because we have our own thoughts, but then it's that campfire effect of being able to stay close, bounce ideas, and get the confirmation that we need to move in any type of direction.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so what did you do next after Ryan said, stop doing that?
So I came home and I just let go. I just stopped my whole operation.
Yeah.
And now I told my VA, she handles all my social media, that like I'm gonna start meetups and YouTubes. And so since we came back, I think today I'm dropping my 3rd YouTube video, like long form.
Nice.
I've been on YouTube Shorts,
Yeah.
which I've gotten good traction on it. So really just working on building that, and then also just a lot of agent outreach. And I really want to scale. When I picture how I'm going to scale this, I see myself doing deals in every single state, essentially.
Nice.
With the influence that I have, I want to just be the brains, kind of Zasha it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Literally like raise the money, they bring the deals, and I'm just the brain behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that have that model.
Yeah.
Way
Way
that
better.
are doing that and doing deals all over the United States.
Yeah.
And it works. And with your Future Flipper community, you are able to do that because there's people from all over the United States.
Yeah.
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 Same with some of the mentorships we're in. But
Yeah.
I think it's important to note that there is no right way.
No.
Like there is no one way that you have to do it and that's the right way. And I think a lot of people sometimes feel maybe even some pressure to market a certain way,
That was me.
to
Yeah.
do a certain thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, everybody else has cold callers and they're texting and they're doing this. I need to go and do that.
Exactly.
But learn from our mistakes. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I get it. You have to maybe try it to figure it out, but know that there are multiple different ways to become very, very wealthy and have a major impact in real estate.
I think a common question that we get asked is like, okay, well, what marketing should I do and which one works the best? And the answer is that they all work.
Yeah. It depends on the person.
It
It
depends
does.
on the person.
Yeah.
Exactly. And put the blinders on though. Like if you're going to go all in on one thing that feels right, just do that. Don't have all your prongs in the fire and not be good at one thing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like in the beginning, do that one thing that feels right, that's reaping you the most results. And then you can add another prong and then you can add another prong. You know what I mean? Because when
Yeah.
we first started, we just texted. We did nothing else.
Okay.
We
Yeah.
just texted until we started getting traction, started making money, knew that one worked. And then we're like, okay, we're in a position like a year or two later. Let's add on cold callers. Let's add on direct mail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think it does though also matter, like to your point, like like the team that you have, and especially depending on the market, who you are. Like it's a it's something that isn't often talked about, but specifically in Hawaii, in the Hawaii market, it's all about who you know.
Yeah.
Like that's it. Like
Yep.
it's not very much more complicated than that. And I know it's like that a lot of places, but Hawaii's like 100%. It's like who you know, what family are from, and then that gives you kind of
Where
like,
you went to high school.
yeah, where you went to high school gives you that kind of credibility.
Culturally and market trends and relationally, honestly, we don't mimic any other state. We
Yeah.
are so unique. So people truly don't understand, like when we go to big events and stuff and they try and talk to you about market trends and stuff, it's like that's not applicable here in
Yeah,
Hawaii.
yeah.
It literally, we don't follow them. Some of the principles remain, right? Underwriting, all of this stuff, but our market trends are so different. And the marketing tools that other people use don't work here. You
Yeah.
know, like, oh, you don't have to go in person to the house. Just send contracts over the email. We have yet to
I
have
tried
that
for
work.
6 months.
Yep.
We have yet to have that work. They want to see you. They want to shake
Yeah.
your hand. They want to vibe with you.
Yeah.
Culturally, you have to, it's all about this person
Yeah.
to person,
Yeah.
you know? So
I agree.
I struggle with that a lot for sure. Just like, oh, I want to be like Ryan. I want to be like whoever, you know, build this huge marketing team. But I realized like I really do not want to do that. It's too much managerial debt.
Dude, totally. And I think that happens all the time. It's
Yeah.
like you think you want something, but if you really, I mean, sometimes it takes just going through it, but you think that you want something, you find out that, you know what, maybe not. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think that works for me. So.
I think that's why us as business owners and entrepreneurs, it's so critical to constantly be evaluating what you want and your goals. And like, you know, I hear all the time, I think Ed Milet just said something recently where it was like, you got to be evaluating what you want daily, if not weekly. You know what I mean? Because what you wanted in January of 2020
So different.
can be totally different from what you want today in October of 2022. Did I say 2020?
Especially
You
for
said
us.
2020.
Yeah.
Like we're constantly wanting new things. We're never satisfied.
yeah.
And that's okay
Yeah.
though, to like not have the same goals. The main thing is that you're aligned with currently where your goal is. You know what I mean? And you're moving in that direction, as long as this is in a positive manner.
Yeah.
You know?
So what strategies, like exit strategies, are you doing right now? Like, are you focused on like fix and flip, like building a portfolio, short-term rental, like all the things?
I
Like, what are
think
your
I might have heard
focuses?
you say before the podcast started, you were talking about storage units.
Yeah. So, I mean, right now, as far as Hawaii goes, I love investing here. It's just super fun and getting to know more people around here. And so I think I'm always going to do things here, primarily trying to focus on wholesaling. But if it's a slam dunk of a deal, I will take the deal down and flip it. But I think I realize I don't want to be doing things by myself anymore. And I want to start only doing partnerships.
Yeah.
Okay, so talk to us about that. Because I was actually, when I was thinking about questions to ask you, I did notice this year you pivoted to a lot of partnerships. How is that going? Why partnerships? What do you look for in a partner? Like, I want to know all the things.
Yeah. Well, number one is I realize I hate construction. So if someone else can go do that for me, that's mostly what I don't want to do.
Yeah.
I love hunting for deals. I love like building the relationships.
So you don't like the project management
No,
part of it.
I hate it. Like, so all power to you. I also don't like the design.
Yep.
I'm horrible at it.
Yeah.
All white everything.
There you go. Let's
Same
go.
for each house.
Yeah.
Neutral works. Neutral
Yeah.
always works.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So partnering, that first one that I partnered on, I kind of just fell into it and we talked about that. But that was a huge project that I didn't even know how big it was going in. But I'm so glad I fell into that partnership because it's been a nightmare and a half. But I think just being able to mitigate risk and then also having fun with other people, like it's not fun by yourself. And if the deal is so good, like there's enough for both of you guys.
Totally.
Dude, you nailed it. Exactly. You know what I mean? It's always more fun when you can do it with another like-minded individual and you don't have to carry the burden alone.
Yeah, the risk.
Yes.
Again, mitigating risk, right?
Mitigating risk.
Knowing my strengths, and it's not construction management.
So you're part of the partnerships from what I'm understanding, has been finding the deal and bringing it to another experienced investor, and then they handle the renovation and project management. Is that how it's been working?
Not for all of them.
Okay.
It just depends on the person and like what I need. It depends on how far it is away from me too as well. Like if it's nearby, then yeah, shoot, I'll just kind of take it myself and use my assistant to like help me with the project management. But if it's far, then I for sure don't want to be driving out there all the time. And so I'll partner with somebody who lives in the area and has good connections. So this next one I have coming up, funny thing is I got it under contract. It was the first one of the ones that had fell out.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Isn't that funny how
it
that always
came
works?
back around.
Back around
Yep.
a year and a half later, bunch of courts later, and we're finally about to buy this thing.
Wow, that's
And
cool.
because it was a year and a half later, you know what has happened in the last year and a half. Like
Yeah.
I'm getting
You're getting a better deal.
deal.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to partner with a newer guy, actually.
Okay.
Oh, nice. So you're the experience.
I'm the experienced one.
Awesome.
But he's from there. He knows the neighbors
Oh,
of
great.
the house.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, wow.
And he's going to pull a bunch of guys from that neighborhood to go work on the house. And
That's
nice.
amazing.
yeah, this is going to be my first project I'm going to subcontract, not
Okay.
have a GC.
Okay.
Okay.
And I want to fully start understanding really what the itemized things are because, yeah, they itemize it for me, but who knows?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
But
right,
now
right.
that I'll have each and every one, I'll fully understand what that looks like and be able to underwrite better.
And you know,
Cool.
that was really helpful to us to basically be the GC and subcontract things out because our first two deals, we bought everything. I'm
Yeah.
talking drywall, nails,
Siding.
everything, windows. I'm talking renting U-Hauls and shoving 8-foot vinyl sliders and carrying it like we
Oh my
did.
God.
We
Rented a
did
flatbed
everything.
truck and loaded it with way too much siding, like siding for a 2,200 square foot house. And the truck that I rented was not big enough. And I was like driving on the freeway like 20
It
miles
was
an
so
hour.
sketchy. I was
Like,
driving behind him, like making sure it didn't fall off. Oh,
and,
we were
like,
on the
tip
phone
over.
the
It
whole
was,
time.
yeah, it was bad.
But I like, would I do that today? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
But I won't say absolutely not. I might do it again
Yeah.
if I need to, but I prefer not to. But I wouldn't take it back because it did show me how much stuff costs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can tell when a contractor is giving you just
ridiculous
super
thing.
inflated
Yeah.
prices, you know, because you're like, dude, I can work back these numbers, and you as an engineer, you can work them back too. Like, what is your daily rate for your guys? You know what I mean?
How many guys are on the job?
And
how long is this job going to take?
Do
And
you
can-
work weekends? You know what I mean? And you can
Yeah.
manufacture it back down. And then if you know all your regular costs of stuff, like you can tell what they're trying to make. And I'm not saying contractors shouldn't make money. They should absolutely make money.
Yeah.
But the key with working with investors is we're repeat customers.
No, we're not retail.
We're not retail home buyers that renovate one house for every, I don't know, 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
We're doing volume.
Right.
You know, so we want to get decently quoted
Yeah.
on our renovations.
Right. Yep.
So yeah, I think it's good. I think you should absolutely do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
And let me know if you
And-
need a U-Haul or a
A
flatbed
U-Haul and
truck.
a flatbed.
Well, you guys
no.
own that?
no.
But I can tell you where to rent them for cheap.
I'm going to let him figure that out.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
don't want to be in the details.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. So you're just kind of, what is going to be your role in that project?
So I've already raised all the money to
Okay.
purchase it.
Nice.
And then I'll pretty much just be the brains.
Love it.
Yeah, love
Love
it.
it.
And I think it's cool that it came back around. Like, how did that even happen? Were you like following up?
Yeah, I've been
or,
following up.
Yeah.
I've been following up.
Fortune is in the follow-up. It's true because
Yeah.
you could have let that one go.
No way.
No way.
That was a good one.
So the next ones are going to be the other two that fell out.
Yeah, we'll see.
If
Maybe.
you follow up,
Maybe.
maybe.
No, actually, I saw them already sell it.
Oh, they did.
Oh,
Listed
there
or
you go.
something.
They listed it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
Happens.
that. I mean, it's happened to us several times.
Yeah.
Yeah, where like a deal was dead and then comes back.
All of a sudden, you get a call and
Yeah.
Yeah.
jump in for joy after.
Yeah, or you just sent that one text a month, just following up, letting them you're still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. A lot of our best deals have come through 17 or more follow-ups.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And months sometimes. But okay, so what does your team look like today?
So really, it's just me, I don't even know what to call him. He just like does everything. I'm just gonna call him my assistant, really.
Yeah.
My
Yeah,
personal assistant.
Okay.
And then my social media manager, and then I have a full-time editor as well.
So
Nice.
four team of
Four
four.
of us, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's solid.
Yeah.
Any team member that is solid is leaps and bounds more beneficial than being a one-person show.
Yeah, so this assistant that I have too, he's cold called for me. He's done the sales side. He's done project management. And it's been like a year and a half of just trying to figure out where
Yeah.
he sits. Me learning how to be a leader and him just being so flexible with me. I knew that I didn't want to let him go when I knew I was going to scrap the whole cold calling system.
Yeah.
So we sat down and I asked him, like, what did you enjoy doing? Because you've pretty much done everything.
Yeah.
And so he really likes just like running around and having a different day every day. So I'm like, perfect, because I don't really want to run around too much. Like if you can do all these things that I just put it on my notes on a to-do list and all of a sudden all my tasks are checked off for the day, like done.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
Okay,
he's
so
awesome.
where are you finding your team members? Where has been like the best way you've been able to find good people for your team or for your partnerships?
Yeah, mostly social media. So this guy, he had reached out to me to help me with my Turo fleet when I was first getting started. He just got his realtor license, hadn't hung his license yet, and I told him, I said, look, come work for me. He managed my Turo for like 3 months. I was like, dude, I really like you. I think you have good character. Skill can be taught, but character cannot. I
Right.
want you to come work for me. Come, don't hang your license. Come call for me for 3 months and then let me know if you still want to go hang your license. And we've been together ever since.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, that's really, really cool.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you found a position for him. Like, you know that he is a valuable asset and you scrapped what he was doing, right? But you understand that, okay, this is somebody that I want on our team, and you can, like, we literally make a position for him.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's
exactly.
super cool.
And I feel like a lot of people would do that too, because like you said, good people are really hard to find. And if you find them, you do whatever it takes to
Exactly.
keep them,
Exactly.
you know, and they show themselves over time,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I mean, the guy is so loyal. He straight up told me that he's like, we're not really getting any leads. If you don't want to pay me for a couple months, it's okay. I'm like, no, dude, I'm going to pay you
Yeah.
For your
regardless.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is like the main thing that you're looking for in your company culture and the characteristics of your team members? Is it loyalty? Is it something else?
I think loyalty is a huge one. I also really like transparency, honesty and transparency. Like, I will tell you if something's not working and you need to tell me as well. Like, don't be afraid of me. That's a big thing, is a lot of people are afraid of me, and like, we just cannot have that. I need you to be able to tell me straight.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So loyalty, honesty, and then just like being able to train daily, really just constantly being okay with improving. Not okay with, like, you need to improve. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's really the main three things, is, like I said, character cannot be taught.
Yeah.
Skill.
I love that.
Yeah.
I feel like, and that happens, let me ask you this, does it happen organically? Or is it something that you as a leader in your business are constantly trying to nurture those relationships?
I'm constantly trying to nurture those relationships
Yep.
because people don't see their potential. And it takes sometimes multiple touches for them to realize, like, wow, I can actually do more than I thought. Like, I'm not actually destined to just work a 9-to-5 job, and like seeing your vision as in like my vision, I want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
So I think for me, like, to bring more people on, again, it's being loud about what I'm doing so that people can see my vision and want to come along with it. As far as like, his name's Dayton specifically, he loved that I didn't sell to not local people. So he was like super for that. And that was like a big thing that we really connected on. And so, yeah, we've just been together ever since.
That's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. I feel like for that in specific too, like, you have to have a very clear vision as a leader,
Yeah.
right? And your your vision needs to be large enough for somebody else to actually function and grow in that vision.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't think everybody has that. I think that it takes time and effort and intentionality to figure out what that is and to get to that space. So
I think that goes back to knowing your why too, and then constantly checking in with yourself and your goals, and then being able to articulate that and not sell it, but express it to your team so that they buy into. Have you found that you attract entrepreneurs versus employees?
Yes.
And how has that been?
I mean, Dayton had wanted to do this on his own at first. And so that's why I told him, like, come work for 3 months. And I had asked him after that, okay, is this something that you want to do? The good thing was that I remember getting super sick. I had this headache and I had to stay home for a day. And so he had to go run around the island doing all these things that was on my task list on top of following up with all the leads. And so after that experience, I came back and I asked him, I said, how was your day yesterday? It's like, oh my gosh, I don't even know how you do this. Like, how are you supposed to find deals and then also take care of this and blah, 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 blah. He's like, there's no way like I could do this by myself. Like, I'd much rather do it together with you. So that worked out.
that's awesome.
Do you hear it? He's dream barking. That was so cute. Biggie is also a special guest on this podcast. You just can't
You saw
see
him
him.
earlier.
Yeah. I love that. So sounds like your team member started off believing or thinking and feeling that he wanted that entrepreneur journey to do it on his own.
Yeah.
But over time with working with you, he realized that he wanted to be a part of a team and that it was easier to divide and conquer.
Not that he didn't necessarily want to be an entrepreneur, or not that he didn't necessarily want to do that, like what he originally wanted to, but he wanted to do it with somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even for me, I don't even want to do this by myself.
I don't know how anyone does it by themselves.
We've never
Like,
experienced that because we've always had each
we
other.
never have had to, and like I honestly would not ever want to. I don't even think I could, because I have a very specific set of skills, and my skills are good at what I do.
Yeah.
But like all of the other stuff, I suck at.
Yeah,
Like
me
I'm
too.
just not good at it. Like I don't love it. I'm not passionate about it, and so I do feel like we were destined to do this because our skills are very complementary. But I give props to anybody out there trying to get there on their own.
Go you.
Yeah, you guys
go
are
you.
the real superheroes.
Hell yeah.
Because I'm weak. I need another person.
Me too. Which is exactly why I brought my husband last time.
Yeah, exactly. That's super cool.
I know.
You
Is
gotta
he
get him
involved
there.
in your business, or he's still working on his own?
So I took your advice, and we have like meetings that just get him going on understanding why I'm making all these decisions. And so really, we've been doing that, and he's like obsessed with Ryan also, which is super cool.
Yeah.
So when we
that's cool.
finally went to the event, I mean, that bug just lit on
Sparked
fire.
even more,
Yeah.
He's transitioning out of the army, should be in the next 6 to 12 months, and helping me out because I'm like spinning. I'm like a rat, just
Running around. Yeah.
I mean, that's every
There's
day,
always
right?
so much to do. Like there's never enough time, not enough help, and like I always feel like
I'm just happy if I like
running
have a whole
around in
page of
circles.
to-dos if I cross off like 5 or 6 of them. You know what I mean? And then I'm like, all right, I feel like I did okay today, you know?
exactly.
2, no. 5 has to be like 5 or 6.
5 or 6 and you're good.
Yeah.
That's
But yeah,
classic.
I remember being in Vegas and you're like, how do you and Kaoi work together? What do you guys do? And I think I said hold meetings.
This was at a meetup at Aloha Deals in
Oh, was it a
Deals in
while
Aloha?
ago?
Maybe
Oh.
like 5-6 months ago.
Okay.
I
Nice.
had asked you.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I think it was Robert's flip.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, that was a
Funny,
couple
like-
months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I said hold meetings, right?
Yeah.
And then have roles.
Yeah.
Right? Well,
So,
did I say anything else?
it was mostly the meetings part because and you're not the only one who told me. Christina Aguilera, she's like, how do you expect you're going to all these meetups and you think he's just going to pick it up? I'm like, maybe.
You're like, duh, he's supposed to. Come
Expectations, right?
Yeah.
High expectations.
Yeah.
And I realized like that's going to destroy our marriage if I'm like already having high expectations as a relationship and then bringing in the business side and being this monster. So
she has some high expectations.
I have a nuzzle now.
So do I. So
so I mean, we'll see what that looks like. I'm pretty sure for me, I want more time to like visualize and be a visionary.
Yeah.
He's a very not detailed, but he's good at holding people accountable only if there's a system in place. And I'm really good at making systems.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
It'll be good.
It sounds like you already have organically identified who's the visionary and who's the integrator, and now it's just making it's hard because a husband and wife dynamic is very different. A marriage dynamic is very different than a business dynamic, you know what I mean? And it can get very blurred, and anybody who tells you that they turn off being a husband or a wife and then they just turn on being a business, it's rubbish. They're lying to you. It doesn't exist. And so navigating that dynamic, I feel like some days are easy and some days are hard. But if you have that concept of who is who, what is what, this is mine, this is yours, we're going in the same direction, it makes the hard days easier. You know what I mean? Do you have anything to add to that?
No, I mean, it's just that, but I'm excited for you and interested to hear. And I'm not gonna lie,
date each other. Like, have fun between the sheets. Have fun together. I'm serious. A lot of people don't
have to worry about that.
But a lot of people don't talk about it. If you're going to be in a business relationship with your spouse, be sure you're having fun together on off time. Keep by whatever it means to keep that spark alive. Have fun together. It can't always be about business.
I agree.
Because if you're not connected like a husband and wife should be, this business relationship ain't gonna work.
Well, but it'll just drive you farther apart. Like it'll ruin the personal relationship. So
and we don't want that.
No, you know, because this has to be good. The business doesn't even matter.
No,
if this side of the marriage isn't good.
Right.
I would much rather be homeless and living under an overpass with my husband, broke, than super rich
all the
with
money
a
in the world.
relationship.
Where you're just miserable inside. And I think
it goes back to the bald people.
It's all about the bald people.
Just name this the bald people.
The bald people. That's classic.
I don't want to be a bald guy with him driving a red Ferrari.
Exactly.
That's the hook.
Exactly.
That's the thumbnail.
You heard Nico.
There you go.
That's funny.
So good.
Okay, so tell us about the last deal you did. I think you kind of touched on it, but what's the last deal you ever did?
The last one I sold.
Whichever. No, I think it can still be pending, but the last deal you've done. Like bought.
The last deal I bought was at the Mastermind, actually.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah. Listening to Alex Hermosi and Layla Hermosi signing for this deal. That was like super epic.
That's awesome. Freaking dope.
That's always super cool.
Funny because I remember going to these events starting 2 years ago and seeing like people bring these mobile notaries. I'm like, that's a power move. I can't wait till I do
You're like, yes, I check.
Yeah, exactly. So I bought this one. I got it from that accountability call that I was doing.
Nice.
Found a need in the community, the Hawaii community. Started meeting with these guys. And I mean, he really just texted me one day, said, hey, I have this attorney, a family law attorney that has a deal. Like, do you want to buy it? You have to come in at this number. Does it work? Yeah, it works. Like, let's buy it.
Let's go.
Awesome.
Yeah, makes sense.
And is that's gonna be a flip? That's the one you're partnering on?
No, so the market is constantly shifting,
right?
And so 1 week before we were going to close on this deal, there was a comp that was sitting. It was active, and they had did a $50K price reduction, and all of a sudden the deal didn't look good. And I knew I wanted to continue building a relationship with this attorney, so I was not about to back out
of it.
And even if I had to take the flip down and lose like 20-30K, I was okay with that,
because that relationship would have been worth it. It would have made you way more.
Exactly. So Instead, I took it down, and now I'm going to rent it by the room to travel nurses. So I'm fixing it up right now, and partnering with my parents to start getting them some passive income.
Amazing.
Nice.
And really, they have a lot of equity on their house, so we're just gonna get a HELOC on that house and pay off the hard money loan, and then own the other one free and clear.
Nice.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's
Congratulations.
See,
That's so
and
cool.
that's what it's about. It's about having to pivot. I don't know if you saw our Instagram page recently, but we had like a major one it's actually been a couple months ago, but
We're waiting for permits.
you have to be okay and know when and how to pivot. Like it's just part of the game that we play.
Yeah. So the market didn't play necessarily a factor in our decision to pivot. The condition of the home played the factor. So once it was not disclosed, and when you're selling off market, we don't do inspections, legitimate home inspections.
Right.
That's appealing, right? That's how we were able to get the deal and sell yourself. But we did our own, but they had covered up trusses.
Oh, no way.
And it was
concealed them. And then when we took them down,
we also bought it from a family friend. So you just have your guard down a little.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Lessons for sure.
But when we actually took the cap off that was covering just eaten. So our original reno was going to be a flip, turned into, a full roof tear off. And at that point it was like, let's just build an ADU.
And keep it.
Yeah.
And rent it out
Rent
three
it out
times,
3 times.
So that's what we're waiting for permits on now is AD. We've been waiting for 6 months.
Yeah.
Not even past pre-screen yet.
Nope.
I actually think it might be past pre-screen, but we ain't near getting an approval,
Yeah.
So,
Okay. We're like literally wrapping up now.
How many deals did you do last year? 2021.
Dude, I did 0.
In 2021?
I bought one.
Okay.
Or bought 2.
Okay.
I didn't sell it though.
Okay.
So I literally did 0, but I've sold one of those flips already. And so this year, I think to date, six deals this year.
Nice.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just taking it back to when I first started, my first year, I lost 30K. My second year, I made 5K. My third year, I moved back to Hawaii and I made $0. I was negative because I was putting out so much money.
In marketing.
But this year, finally, I feel like when you're lighting a lighter with no lighter fluid in it and you're just constantly trying to get it, I finally have a spark. Not even a flame, just like a little spark.
Yeah.
So that's like where I'm at now.
Dude, I love that. That's a good reminder again. And I know I talk about it all the time, but I think just a lot of people feel like they're going to start getting into it and then immediately deserve success or immediately are going to be successful. And dude, it took us 4 years of grinding before we had a good year.
Any type of,
right?
Yeah.
Like there is a lot of hard work and you got to put the freaking dues in.
You got to take the hard knocks,
right,
man.
and be willing to work super hard before you start having success or any of that stuff. So I just want to pound that home always.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's super cool.
I think that's a good caveat into what is the biggest challenge you've had to overcome in your investing journey so far?
What is the biggest challenge? That's a hard one.
Yeah.
I think really getting married. So when I first started this business, I was single and I was grinding it out.
Yeah.
And my friends would constantly be on my butt like, dude, why don't you ever come hang out with us and whatnot. And so when I met my husband and we first started dating, I was like, there's no way I can keep doing this. I can't be like that. And so it was a huge mindset shift for me to like not only just say that, oh, I'm okay with being broke and as long as I have my husband, but actually putting it into action and not working on the weekends, having a hard cutoff time of 6 p.m. Like as soon as he walks in the door, I'm like, okay, now I need to make dinner. Like wife hat is on.
Yeah.
And just like if you didn't finish what you need to get done for that day, that's your problem, not his.
Yeah.
But you need to show him that like he's a priority. And yeah, so that's like been the biggest challenge, I would say, is like managing the personal life and the business.
Well, now you have something to actually balance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Something that also needs to take priority.
Yeah.
We don't shut it off.
I know that's not good, but I love that answer. I was not expecting that. Normally, I don't get that answer when we ask like what someone's challenge is, but I think it's such an important thing to talk about, and especially when you're in a relationship and a marriage, and that personal business, being able to navigate that. It's not easy at all, you know, and especially if you're someone like
me.
you and me, right? Where we just will work nonstop till we're dead.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's so
and
fun.
It's right. And but it's just like bred into us.
Yeah.
It's a very different dynamic when there's somebody else that comes into the world, and now your focus and attention also has to go there. And
it's not just you against the world anymore.
Yeah.
It's you and him against the world, right? So it's like, well, what does he want? What are his feelings? What are his goals? Are we aligned? Yeah, it's a constant. But I commend you, because marriage is the coolest thing that God ever created.
Yeah.
It truly is. You know what I mean? If you found your person and then you are best friends with that person, and then one day you guys will create little humans together. You know what I mean?
Not anytime soon.
Don't manifest that.
Don't manifest it.
And that legacy that you're creating. And then if you get to actually build like a huge business with that person too, like,
it's a lot to share. Yeah.
Love you.
Cool.
Yeah. I've always like seen you guys and just speechless. So thank you for being a cool role model.
Right on.
You're welcome, but it's hard.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I feel like we need to go and like do a series on how to work with your spouse.
We should. We should do a
watch.
YouTube series.
You know what I mean? Like how to work with and like literally talk about the arguments that actually take place, especially because we're both dominants.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it can be heated sometimes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But then it can be beautiful, you know?
It's always like
the
that.
yin and the yang.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so now flip it. What's the biggest triumph or like success you've had to overcome in your journey so far?
So far in your journey.
Overcome success.
Well, just
like what has been the biggest success? Let's just say it that way.
The triumph.
Yeah, biggest triumph or success.
Biggest success. I mean, I feel like this is just a cliche one that everyone wants to make their first 6-figure flip, right?
Yeah.
So I would say probably that one. And then the fact that like I got that one from social media. So that one was really cool.
Super cool.
Because I remember going on that appointment and like the guy was asking $550. I'd never met the guy in person ever. Haven't even talked to him on the phone. This guy just set up the appointment for me. And I show up and this uncle, no shirt.
Yeah.
Local style.
Yeah, local style in Waianae.
Yeah.
And like we vibed so well.
Oh, that's so cool.
well that like I was telling him about my vision for the homeless people and all this stuff. He's like, for real, you like go see some land? And we went on a field trip.
No way.
To go see some land that I guess he's part of like Department of Hawaiian Homelands.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, we're trying to find people who want to build on these. Like, is this something that you would want to do? Went on this field trip, came back, and I was like, all right, uncle, well, this is really cool, but like, I came here for this house.
Yeah.
You're asking $550. I need it at $350.
Yep.
And he looked at me. He's like, you know what? For you, sure.
No
and
way.
So that was a crazy God story.
The
that's
best,
wild.
the easiest acquisition ever.
Easiest acquisition ever.
But what were you thinking when he actually said that? Like, you
Really?
know
Come on,
what?
could sign the paper right now.
For you, yeah, we can do that. Because you probably weren't expecting that.
I was not expecting
in any
that.
way.
No.
You were expecting the opposite, I'm
I was
sure.
expecting the opposite,
Yeah.
but it worked out so well. It was like the smoothest transaction ever, and so that was a huge win. Got to sell. His one wish was that I sold that to a local family, and so before I even listed it on the market, I tried to do the same thing that you guys were doing.
Yep.
And try to find somebody off market.
Yep.
It didn't end up working out, but at the end of the day, we still sold it to a local family, and that was really cool.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Love that.
It means something. I think a lot of people that aren't local here might not truly understand what that means, you know? And for us, it's just so special because there's this feeling, these heated emotions and this narrative that a lot of local people are getting priced out and they're having to move because they can't afford to live here. And it's like, but if we can keep local people here and put them in quality homes, that means everything to us, you know?
Yeah. We could do a podcast about the relationship that locals have with land, you know? That would be something to maybe talk about. It's super interesting, but I feel like we're all very small fish in the sea. But if we all share the same kind of mindset and like do our little part to try and keep locals home and sell that way, dude, we can make an impact.
Oh, yeah.
Right? There's a lot of us doing stuff like this, you know? And so alone, okay, but together, it like we can definitely make a big impact. So
well, we're doing the best we can with the current system that's in place. You know what I mean? And instead of continuing to buck and fight and hope for some type of resolution and change, which may never happen, what can we do in the here and now that can make an impact? Let's keep locals here, keep land with locals in the way that the system is right now. And if we just dominate in that sector, then that change will change everything.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So statistically, majority of homeowners are still local people.
yeah, well, 70% of the sales are local sales. So
if we can just increase that, that'd be dope.
Yeah.
hell yeah.
You know? Okay, so if you could go back to the beginning, the very beginning of your real estate investing journey, what would you do differently? If
Nothing.
anything.
Yeah, nothing.
Love that.
I would say, like, if I was looking for an answer you wanted to hear, maybe get coaching at first. But, like, I'm very thankful with how things played out, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
I love that answer.
Yeah.
I know I don't like sugarcoat or give me what you think I want to hear. I like gut, straightforward to the point. So that's awesome. Okay. How we wrap up is, what impact do you hope to leave with the audience?
What impact do I hope to leave? I hope that if you are somebody who is working a job that you absolutely hate, don't feel like you need to stay there.
Yeah.
I am giving you permission right now. Quit your job and go chase what you want to chase. Like, especially if you're young, like myself. For me, I was like, I have no kids. I'm single. Now is the time to take risks because I'm broke. Yeah, maybe I was making a good salary, but like the reality is I'm broke. Anybody who's just making one stream of income is broke.
Is broke. Yeah.
And what do you have to lose? You're going to lose your brokenness.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
You have nothing to lose. I second that. You have permission.
yeah.
Sometimes that's all it takes. People are waiting for somebody to say it's okay. And maybe this podcast and hearing your story will be that push that somebody needs. So I love that. And so we already talked about how people can find you, but let's do it again at all social media platforms at
Real Stacy with 2 Y's.
Real Stacy.
Because somebody stole with 1 Y.
Oh, no way. Did you ever try and buy that?
I should, honestly.
Yeah, you should buy it. You should totally buy it.
Okay, you heard it here at Real Stacy on all social media platforms. Guys, if you haven't already, like, subscribe and follow us on YouTube and all social media at Deals and Aloha and at Kamohai and Tristan. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Aloha.
Right on, guys.
It's all good. Get, blow up like